wonderful art students, and welcome to a brand new week. Miss Durbin here, ready to get you going on the next major project. This is Major Project 5 for Semester Art. If you were on my Canvas page, you noticed the pop art videos and the video about Andy Warhol before this. And so hopefully you had a little bit of background all about pop art. And now we are going to create our own pop art in the next week or two. You're actually going to have more time on this project. So please take your time, slow down, and do your best work. I have done a lot of prepared work beforehand just because it's a little bit more involved project. So I'm going to set that aside and get you going on the first basic steps, and I will explain how you want to create it. It's really pretty simple when you get going. Okay, so you're going to start, when you start with pop art, you need to start with a square because we're going to do 4 quadrants of the same image. And like you saw in the video, that's kind of a typical style of pop art. It's also how Andy Warhol did a lot of his work. Most of you probably have like plain white copy paper, sketchbook paper, and a lot of that paper is rectangular, okay? So a really simple way to get it square, of course, is to simply measure, the whatever size square you need. But an even easier way is to fold your paper all the way up to the other side. And you've probably done this before if you've ever done origami or any kind of paper folding. And you've got this extra piece. So what you got to do is trim it off like so. And you have a square. Ta-da, square. Okay, once you have a basic square, then you can get started. When you have a square piece of paper, you then want to basically cut it in half. Okay, in 4 quadrants like you see in my example up there. Okay, they don't have to be perfect. If you're a perfectionist and you want to measure so all of your squares are the same, that's totally fine. Okay, the next step, you want to outline because you're going to need to trace one of these squares. Okay, take a Sharpie or anything black that you have is fine. Black colored pencil, black marker, any of the above. Okay, so once you have those 4 quadrants, then you need another piece of paper. It really kind of needs to be thin because what you want to do is trace one of your squares. Okay, I'm going to line that up and just simply trace it so I get the same size square. Okay, then I'm going to cut that square out. Now I have a square the same size as these squares. What you're going to do now is design your image for your pop art. So the image should be something that relates to you personally. It can be something that you like, your hobbies, sports, interest, anything that comes to mind. Also, you can think about popular culture. What's really big right now? What is something that you like that's kind of popular? Okay, so I kind of went the food route, and I did some baking this weekend, and I guess I had cake on my mind. And I decided to do like a basic chocolate cake, cherry, whipped cream, all that fun stuff. And so in that square that you have, that plain little square, you're going to design your image. Okay? Once you have that done, and you have your quadrant paper, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is trace it 4 times. Okay? And that's I've done here. Now my drawing paper was kind of thick on here, and I took this and I traced it 4 times. If your paper is kind of thick and it's hard to see, the best thing to do on a sunny day, hopefully if the sun's shining, is tape it to a window, like in your house, or if you're at school in a classroom, hopefully the teacher will be fine with that. And you can trace your image 4 times. And that's it. Once you're done tracing everything, then it's time to color. So you notice that pop art is very bright and bold and dynamic, okay? So I highly recommend markers, okay? Colored pencils are good too. You know, that's good too. Lots of color there. If you use colored pencils, try to color dark so that your colors really show up, especially when you make a picture of your art and you submit it on the computer, then your color looks even bolder, okay? Now, the color part of this is specific. Remember, like the Picasso pictures, the faces were all the warm colors. And warm colors were red, orange, yellows. And then the background was cool colors, green, blue, purple. For this project, it's a little different. For pop art, we're going to do complementary colors. What are complementary colors? What that means on the color wheel, the opposite, red and blue. They complement each other because they're on opposite sides of the color wheel, okay? And they also have a nice contrast. So that's why you say they complement each other. You know the old saying, opposites attract? Well, it's kind of true for color. So yellow, purple are complements. Red and green are complements. Blue and orange, and so on. Now, there's a lot of variations. You don't have to do basic colors. You might want to use pink and green. That would be opposite, complementary. Turquoise and yellow. Orange and royal blue. You know, there's a lot of different variations that you can do, okay? So I am going to put it on time lapse, and I'm going to fill all this in, and then I'll come back in just a minute for the final video clip. Okay, thanks. See you in a bit.